comfortable and what they know. Um, but honestly, I mean, I might tend to disagree with you a little bit on the national level because I think the more local kids that we get, the more that hype builds. And I know that this is going to contradict what I just said. But I mean, think about it. If we do land James Williams and Leonard Taylor, like, why wouldn't a guy like Jake Garcia be like, okay, why not?
Yeah.
I like, clearly they have something going, so why not? Or Tristan Lee, or, just these guys from out of state. They might be like, well, clearly Miami's got something cooking right now, so I'm going to check it out as well. So it definitely helps us locally. I think there's two sides to the argument for nationally. I can see both.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think, and I forgot to mention James Williams, but yeah, and especially locally, I mean, just this recruiting staff that we've been putting together is pretty remarkable. But
Yeah.
I don't even want to think about the possibility of not having a season. Did you see at the White House the other day that guy on the Miami Board of Trustees was at the White House and said that the Canes are going to be playing football this year, and then he threw up the U or something like that?
I love it, man. I love
Yeah.
to see it.
Yeah, I don't care if there's fans or not. Just please play football, please.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. I mean, I'm just hyped for all of it. I'm hyped for fantasy football. I'm hyped for college football. I'm hyped for the radio show that we're gonna have. It's all gonna be fun, dude. We need
Yeah.
we need sports.
Yeah, yeah, not just the fans, but guys like you and me, we need sports.
Yep. I will probably die. Dude,
Yeah, I don't know what else I'm gonna do. Like I'm not smart, so like I only have football. I only have sports. Like that's my ticket.
well, I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. It's rough times right now with no sports. I just weep every night. I weep. I watch competitive. I don't know. I'm trying to make up something. I watch competitive RC car driving, and then I weep. Yeah, right. All right. So I got one question for you, and then I say we call it a day.
Okay.
All right. So because we like the same kind of stupid teenage boy humor comedies, I'm going to say that. Okay, so this is a scenario. You're going on a lake trip, whether it's like Lake Powell or Lake Tahoe or just any fun lake like that, where you're gonna be with the boys, right? But your entourage of people is 5 actors. You get to pick them.
Wait, repeat that question.
Okay, so you're going on a lake trip, on a guy's trip, right? And the people that you're going with is 5 actors, and you get to pick who they are. And so I want to, but I don't want it to just be like just your favorite or just the funniest. Like, you got to take the chemistry of the situation into account, right? Like, maybe it's not a good idea to take like Seth Rogen and Adam Sandler because they kind of have different styles. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? What I'm saying is like we're taking the vibe into account here.
Huh. That's a good question.
Yeah. You can do 3 if that's all you can think of, or you can do 5. I just didn't want to limit you.
Can I say dead actors too?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Chris Farley.
Okay.
Younger Adam Sandler.
Okay.
Younger David Spade.
Yeah.
Just because I love those 3, and they hold a very special place in my heart. What's that guy? I can't think of his name right now. He's in Knocked Up. He's the husband in Knocked Up, and he plays Kunu in Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Why can't I think of his name?
Rudd.
Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
Love Paul Rudd. and I think that he'd get along with those guys and would make things fun. And
Oh,
then,
hold on. What, you watched Forgetting Sarah Marshall then finally?
I did.
How was it?
It was pretty funny. I won't lie.
Oh,
It was
dude,
pretty darn funny. Yeah, I love the line when they're out there surfing and Paul Rudd goes like, when life gives you lemons, just say F it and F the lemons and bail.
I love that all the time. I love Kunu, man. He's hilarious.
Yeah, when he's like teaching Jason Segel like how to get up on a surfboard and goes like, let's just get out there and surf. The weather outside is weather.
Yeah, you're doing too much.
You're doing too much. You got to do nothing at all.
Yeah, dude. That whole movie is so good. And how fantastic is Jonah Hill in that movie?
Oh my gosh, he's so funny. Just
Yeah.
I just want you to take a look at my demo.
Yeah.
It's
I actually love Russell Brand too. I know he's kind of an acquired taste, but I think Russell Brand is completely brilliant. I devour is like interviews with him. I think he's a highly intelligent person.
very smart.
And I find him hilarious. So I'm a big Russell Brand guy as well.
And just the funniest moments in that movie, in my opinion, are just like when it goes to a clip of Jason Segel crying.
Yeah, dude. And dude, the most realistic line of all time. I mean, for anyone who's ever been through a breakup that was difficult, is when he's talking about his cereal containers. Like, Sarah bought me these, so my cereal would stay fresh, and now I have the freshest cereal. And he like starts sobbing. I'm like, dude, that right there captures a bad breakup better than anything in the world.
Or when like they just break up and he's like in a towel and he goes like and he's just like, just give me a minute, and he goes back to the kitchen and he's naked and you just hear
Yeah,
just starts whimpering.
Oh my gosh, I love that movie. I have to watch it like every 3 months.
It's pretty funny. I'd give it like a B+.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, man, I love it. It's at least an A- for me. I really love that movie.
Jason Segel is very, very funny, and Mila Kunis is so hot.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
She's beautiful.
Yes.
And I'm not a fan of that other girl. I don't like. She doesn't do it for me.
Tim Bell, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like,
I'm with you, man. She she kind of has the, what's it called, like the like a Pep Squad vibe, you know?
Yeah, she kind of looks like she could go to BYU. She kind of looks like she could be a Cougarette.
Yeah, yep.
And for those who don't know, Cougarettes are the cheerleaders or the dancers, and so she kind of gives up the vibe like she could be born and raised in Provo. She kind of, maybe like a bitch, No offense, she's a very nice girl. I think she's very pretty, but she kind of gives off that vibe that I think only us Utah people can really appreciate. But Mila Kunis, I would swim to Hawaii just to go on a date with her.
Yeah. The Kristen Bell vibe, we're talking like she's so intensely happy that it's almost violent. That is a very Utah vibe.
Perfect. That is perfect. Yeah. That movie is just, that cast is so great.
It is.
Okay, wait. Before I forget, Dirty Bird asked me a question. Dirty Bird's our guy. He says, who do you feel is the most important player to not get injured? In other words, who would be hardest to replace if they were to go down for an extended period of time?
Probably De'Aaron King, man. I mean, yeah. I don't want to say it just because he's the quarterback, but like I just said, I feel like our quarterback room is very unstable besides De'Aaron King.
Yeah, I would say him or maybe Al Blades Jr.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Or Zach McCloud even.
Yeah,
Zach McCloud goes down. And like we have like a bunch of either like true freshmen or other guys at linebacker, I think we could be in trouble. But yeah, that's my answer. But I wanted to get back to your question about the actors. I wanna ask who you would take.
Well, so I interrupted you, I think, before you got the fifth. So you have the Spade, Sandler, and Farley, and then you had Paul Rudd, and then who was the last guy?
I'm gonna say Chris Rock.
Okay.
Yeah, because like I wanted to say like Seth Rogen and those guys, but like Seth Rogen, I just feel like if you took him to a lake, like all they would want to do is like take shrooms and just trip.
Yeah.
The whole time. But I feel like Farley would be like, I feel like we would do fun things, and I just feel they're like more. I love Seth Rogen. Everyone knows I'm a huge Seth Rogen fan, but I feel like I fit in more with like the Farley group.
Yeah.
They have a little bit more frat boy persona to them, and that's kind of my humor and that's my personality, and so yeah. I would put in like Chris Rock I think is severely underrated. I think he is so funny.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, man. And yeah, I wouldn't definitely not fit in with like Seth Rogen and what's his name? James Franco.
Mm-hmm.
However,
he's smart for me.
yeah, and I feel like those guys are like potheads, and that's not really my vibe. And like I agree with you. I feel like if you went to a lake with them, it would mostly be about substance use, and that's not exactly what I'm looking for on a guy's trip. So I'd have to go with Jonah Hill. Like,
oh yeah, I may have to throw Jonah Hill in there. I'm one of the biggest Jonah Hill fanboys out there.
Oh, dude, same. So I'm going with Jonah Hill 1, and I'm actually going with Dave Franco number 2.
Ooh.
I'm a big Dave Franco guy as well.
I think him in Neighbors, he is really funny.
Yeah, I would take Dave Franco way over James Franco, in my opinion. I think he's funnier. I definitely think that I'd get along better with him. Yeah. Let's see. I'd probably throw in Miles Teller there as well. I like Miles Teller.
Wait, who's he?
So he's in War Dogs. Have you seen that movie?
I haven't. I have not seen it yet.
Have you seen Project X?
Yes. Oh yeah, curly hair.
Yeah, he's the kid. He plays himself in Project X, and they like see him at the grocery store and get him to come to the party.
He's like a college baseball player or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like he'd fit in good with that crew. And then let's see, who else are we going with? Dude, you know who I'd love to have on this list, but wouldn't really fit is Rob Riggle.
Oh, he is so funny.
Actually, you know what? I mean, dude, I don't know. I could go so many different ways. At heart, I am, I'm like a basketball nerd, right? And growing up, I used to make these different NBA teams based on like my perception of chemistry, right?
Yeah.
So I'd have all these different teams of like, I'm like, this is my shooting and defense team, is like this group, and then this group is for other stuff, and so honestly, I could feel good to just scrap that last team I said and just have like Rob Riggle, Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson, and just like roll with those guys for a weekend too. That'd be great.
Dude, I would love. Oh, and you know what? Who I'm forgetting is freaking Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
Oh,
Vaughn's fantastic.
Vaughn, like if you knew my dad, Vince Vaughn and my dad were like the complete same person.
Yeah.
And so like, just that style of humor is like,
yeah.
Dude, I could go so many ways with this question. Rob Riggle, not only do I respect the hell out of him because he served in the United States Marines, but he is so damn funny.
Yes.
Just
Absolutely.
I can never get when he like pow pow like
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
He's funny in everything. He's no matter what he's in, he's always the funniest guy.
Yeah. And just like his like
yeah. I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna do a complete 180 on this. Scrap the last part. I'm going Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson.